All right. Welcome back to another episode of the Who We Are podcast with yours truly, Zach Moloch. It's a mental health podcast. And today I have with me Jamie Kelly. Jamie, do you want to say hello?
Hello.
All right. So glad you're here. Some of you may remember Jamie. This is before we did video podcasting. She was on one of our first podcasts when she talked about her struggling with major depressive disorder. Is that right?
Right.
Right. I, I I'm speaking for a lot of people here who just absolutely loved that episode, and they're going to be really excited to hear what you have to say today on women's mental health. That's what we're going to be talking about today, and in particular, we're going to be talking about how it relates to women in the Bible. And pre-production, you and I talked about that woman being Ruth. Is that right?
That's right.
All right. Well, this is a perfect way to launch the Jesus and Mental Health series that we've been talking about for the past few months. Actually, this has been in the making for quite a while, so I'm really excited that you're our first guest just to start out that series. So thanks for being here.
I'm excited to be here. Thank you
Good.
so much for inviting me.
Oh, of course, of course. In pre-production, we talked a little bit about grief, which is interesting because the last episode that we just recorded was on grief. Do you mind just kind of just being real raw and just kind of going through that thought real quick?
Yeah. So my first introduction to grief, I was really young when my granddad died, and so I thought I kind of knew grief. I thought I knew how to go through grief, but of course, like you're young, you don't really know, you don't understand the concepts of death. And then my grandma died when I was older, but it wasn't until my dad died last year that I'm really understanding like the raw, like the capacity of grief,
Mm.
and what it does to your body, what it does to your mind, and kind of pushing through that. And what that journey is looking like for me was, you know, I thought I was doing great. When my dad passed, I thought I was doing awesome. Like I am rocking this grief thing. And then I
Mm.
tanked.
Oh,
And I can honestly say I haven't been the same since my dad died in different ways. Um, but I'm like crawling my way out of that pit now.
what
And
what
so
what do you mean? You haven't been quite the same.
I think I look at everything so much differently, especially like the relationships that I have with my kids and what that's going to look like when I pass. Um, what lasting impression I want to make on my kids
Mm.
and how I want them to remember me,
Yeah,
And so,
creating that legacy, so to speak.
yeah, creating your legacy, which is huge, like it's massive. That's I never really thought, like, I guess like the idea had been brought up, but I think until I lived it, until I walked in it, and knowing what my dad's legacy is to me, yeah, it's a completely different. It's a heavy hitter because I had a really complicated relationship with my dad.
Mhm.
He wasn't like a super happy, fun time guy, and so yeah, just like figuring out how to continue to honor him,
Sure.
right? But at the same time, being honest about what his legacy was to me.
And that actually rolls right into what we're talking about today, as far as women's mental health and loss. Because the
Hmm.
story of Ruth, there's a part that addresses loss there too. So, some of the talking points that we're gonna address today are the fact that we tend to praise strong women, right? Like we tend to almost put them on a pedestal. But I think something that we forget to ask women in that regard is what it's costing them. We see her. I'll just speak for me. I see my wife, and she's superwoman to me,
She's
but
tough.
she's tough. She really is. But I rarely think, okay, like what is this costing her? So in prepping for this episode today, like it really had me pay more attention to some of the things that my wife may be going through day to day that she just doesn't bring up. She's toughing out. So this is going to be a special episode in that regard. Another talking point we're going to address is how Ruth lost everything, her husband, her security, her future, yet she still showed up. And what did that do to her mentally?
Yeah.
We're also going to be talking about women's health overall, not just mental health, but we're going to address their physical health, emotions, and spiritual health as well. So, real quick though, for those of you who don't know Jamie, I'm gonna let her give like a 3 to 5 minute intro into who she is, and just we'll just kind of go from there. We'll just jump right out of the gate with that. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's great.
All right. So yeah, just tell us who you are, kind of where you come from, and how you came to be part of the podcast today.
All right. Well, my name is Jamie Kelly. First and foremost, I'm a daughter of the king. Always, that's my number one. Second, I'm a wife. Third, I'm a mother of three. Amazing kids. They're so cool. And I'm a survivor of treatment-resistant depression. And we went over like what that looks like in the last episode. And most recently, I'm just walking through my grief journey that I started last year. Um, but how I came to be on the podcast was through going to church with you and just kind of getting to know you. And we have so much in common. I'll tell it to my husband, like, you're the male version of me. You're like my brother, you
Yeah, so
know?
you're like my sister. Gosh, I love you like a sister too. I was telling Beverly the other day, I was like, yo, I I don't have a sister, but my goodness, if I did, I would want Jamie to be my sister. So
Yeah.
we
Well, I mean, and I will adopt you as my brother. That's totally,
oh, that's
I'm down
great.
with that for sure. Absolutely. Um, but yeah, I mean, I think just from getting to know you and, I think we relate so much to each other and like the rawness, the realness of mental health that that's how I ended up here.
Yes, yes, and you are so easy to talk to. Like I can speak freely with you. You can with me, and you know there are people that we can be around that we don't feel judged by. But I'm
Yeah.
telling you, when I'm around you, like there's just absolutely no judgment, and it's just really cool to be able to be myself. And same for you. It's cool for you to be yourself with me. So I really appreciate that in our friendship. So
Yeah.
yeah. So there's the sentimental piece right there. We'll get that out of the way. But
I'll push it out of the way.
right.
Nerds,
Right,
dorks.
exactly. So we'll dive straight into it. Let's go with physical health first. What are some of the issues that women commonly ignore when it comes to their physical health?
Oh man, I think all of it. So I think so I think our push, especially like growing up in the 90s, early 2000s was just be skinny. Like just be skinny at all costs. Be skinny, regardless of what that looks like. Just don't eat. And so that was what health looked like. Health looked like the number on the scale being as small as humanly possible. Your BMI being as low as humanly possible. And I could never meet that goal. I'm Irish. I don't know about you. I always carry a little bit extra weight.
Yeah, same here.
Regardless of how severe like my eating disorder got or my over exercising. I don't think I'll ever be like that cookie cutter, like model thin type of person, you know?
Well, but
Uh,
I don't think you want to be though either, right?
Sure. I mean, doesn't everybody want to be ripped and like jacked? You know what I mean? Not even in a
Yeah.
healthy way. I don't really care about that. I think it's still subliminally in me that it's like, oh, let me just get as lean as humanly possible. And that's horrible. That is probably the worst case scenario. I started working with an online trainer and she told me I needed to be eating significantly more. I'm talking 800 or 900 calories more than what I
Oh
would
wow.
typically eat and exercise way less.
Hmm.
Like
So
she's
it
like,
sounds
no,
like
I
she's
mean,
trying
keep
to manipulate your
moving, keep
metabolic rate.
walking. Like so every other day of like my plan is just walking for an hour.
Wow.
Uh,
Huh.
you know what I mean? Like
Right.
that's hard for me to wrap my mind around because like we talked about the other day, like my way of losing weight and it works is develop an eating disorder and
I know you're
overexercise. Burn
no,
yourself
we're
out.
telling no.
No, and I'm not telling you to do that. I'm telling you that's my normal go-to method is end up with an injury.
Yeah.
Um, it's always like a low back injury or maybe like a shoulder injury because I'm just like I'm not eating enough and I'm working out way too hard. I mean, I would do like 2 a days in the gym like I am like an athlete or something. No reason for that.
No, there's not. I used to joke about it, but I mean, it's true. Get a stomach bug, and if you can shed 10 to 15 pounds pretty
You could shed
quickly.
10 to 15 pounds. I could probably eat a tapeworm
There's that
you know?
too.
And so I think that that's something that women, that's what she was talking about. Like women don't focus on their mental health is like a big part for us is our hormone, like our hormone balance,
Mm,
how
hmm.
like fat and protein plays into that.
Yeah.
And you have to eat it. Like you have to eat the fat. You have to eat them. Like you have to eat the carbs. You actually have to eat that.
You do. You can't just look at them.
You can't just think about it. And you can't do what I love to do, which is not eat any calories, maybe like some rice cakes or something,
Mm.
and then get so hungry in the middle of the night that you can't sleep, you can't think of anything but food, and so you just run into the kitchen and eat like a bag of Cheeto Puffs,
Yeah.
and end up going to bed sad.
Oh, I'm
So,
telling you, that's got to be me like three nights out of the week for sure,
yeah.
for sure. Well, but
Hmm.
so as talking about this, and we started talking about physical health, but it sounds like it's got a pretty big way in on mental health,
Yeah.
the physical health, and you actually kind of addressed it in jest. You were talking about eating disorder, but that, I mean that's serious stuff, and that's something that
Yeah.
you did struggle with, and you still struggle with from time to time, right?
Yeah. And I think like it was hard for me to put that label of eating disorder on it because I wasn't super skinny. I was like,
Hmm.
I don't have anorexia, dummy. I have fat on me, but
Yeah.
I would keep myself from eating and thrive in hunger and not feel like I'm being healthy unless I feel hungry.
Hmm.
And I was lightheaded, surely losing weight, but also losing hair.
Hair?
Yeah, like your hair will just
Oh,
fall out.
oh, because the hormone
Yeah,
imbalance.
your hormones will be completely imbalanced. You'll start losing hair. Um, like start having like cycle issues and things like that. But I still had weight on me, so I was like, well, I can't be anorexic. Like those anorexic girls are skinny. Like I wish I
Mhm.
was anorexic.
No, you don't.
No, well, that was what I would think.
Okay,
You know
okay.
what I mean? That's what I would think at the time. Like, how can I qualify? And I don't have bulimia. Sometimes I just make myself throw up because I'm full.
Really?
And it's like
Yeah.
that's bulimia. Like, no, you have that.
Well, and you're actually talking about things that, women, these are real things women struggle with, right? Like, I
Mhm.
mean, one of the next question I have here is, uh, what are women silently struggling with right now? Like, what would you get? And I think you're hitting a pretty broad topic. I think it's safe to say that women really do, um, they worry about their weight and they try to manipulate their weight quite a bit. Is that safe to say?
Oh yeah. I mean, that might just be a human thing. I don't know if it's just a women thing. I mean, men are always trying to go up on the scale, though, right? Like they're always trying to get like heavier, denser. But a lot of the times, women, what I've noticed is like, oh, I can't eat that. It's your own birthday. You won't even eat that
Yeah.
because you're afraid of that scale going up a little bit.
So why do you think women struggle silently with that? Why is that just something that's, I guess, just accepted amongst women and with men? Like, yes, I mean, you're right. Like we want to put on the muscle mass. We want to look ripped. We want to look like we're chiseled out of stone. I mean, where does that come from, you think?
I don't. Are we struggling silently though? Like we're being so loud about it. I think
That's
like
a good point. Yeah.
yeah, we're being loud. Like we're
Yeah.
complaining about it constantly. We're talking about it with our friends all the time. We're talking about it with our husbands, our
That's a good point.
spouses. Like
Yeah.
we're talking about it in media. Where there's pills for it, there's shots for it, there's jokes about it, there's sitcoms where that's the main theme. We're not. I don't think we're quiet at all about wanting to be thin or wanting.
That's a really good point. So I guess if there was something that women struggle silently with, because I can tell you a lot of the things that we as men struggle silently with, but what about women? What is
What
something
are
that you
women
typically,
struggling silently with?
yeah, what do you carry that you just typically keep to yourself?
Personally,
Yeah, personally.
I think that's a difference between that. That's a huge key difference between men and women. I don't keep it to
Mhm.
myself. Why would I keep it to
Okay.
myself? And most
Yeah.
women, I don't know that they would. I have my girls I can talk to about anything. I have my boys that I can talk to about anything. I have my husband,
Yeah.
I'll talk to him about it. I
Okay.
cannot think of a single, especially recently, within the past, I mean, I'm talking about within the past 5, 7 years,
Hmm.
something that I've struggled with silently. I'm not a stoic person at all. If somebody asks how my day is going, I'm like, I'm grieving. I'll tell people,
Yeah. Well,
I'll personally,
fair enough. Yeah, and I completely get where you're coming from, and I definitely respect that. But what do you think? Since we're talking about women's mental health in general, and yes, I do want you to apply your personal anecdotes to it, but maybe I should say like from like the nurturing standpoint, like it seems like women have to, well, just like men, they seem like they have to carry it all together because they're carrying all of it alone. It seems like as far as like the home, right? Like the nurture aspect of the home, like and I'm not talking about like where I'm not necessarily subscribing to the fact that like men have to work and women have to stay home. Like if that's how your family dynamic is, that's great, that's fine. But
yeah.
what is it that you think that women? I mean, well, I guess is there anything that they tend to struggle with
I
silently?
mean, I think that there are definitely women out there that don't talk about their problems. Absolutely. I don't surround myself with them, so it would be hard
Okay.
for me to speak on that. Like my friends are pretty raw and open and honest about like what's going on in their life, what they're struggling with. Um,
How about this? Do you neglect anything as far as like your own health?
yes,
Okay, and why?
absolutely.
Why do you do
Why
that?
do I neglect it? I get analysis paralysis, really bad. So like I mean, even like when I'm struggling with my like or the treatment resistant depression, like I'll struggle with simple things like hygiene. Like
Okay.
I need to get in the shower. But that's
Mhm.
so hard. Like the concept of getting in the shower is so hard. And why would I when
Yeah.
there's deodorant and dry shampoo and nobody needs to know, you know?
Well,
So
is it
I'll
is it
struggle with
is
things
it
like
that
that.
is it that or are you just like putting everybody else first? Like how often do you put like your husband, your kids, your friends, or like whatever? Like, are you somebody who does that? Like, puts everybody and everything else first before your own self care?
Yeah, I would say like I definitely struggle with that. I mean, even if you look at it as something like on a micro level, like laundry, a lot of the time I'm doing my husband's laundry first, I'm doing my kids' laundry first, and then by the time
Mm,
I get done with their laundry, they have more laundry to do. So I'm doing more of my husband's and my kids' laundry, and then like my stuff will just pile up.
mm. But
Like
that
I'll have
doesn't
like
bother
little, no, it bothers me, of course.
you. Oh, it does
But
bother you. Okay.
yeah, but
But
it's
why
like,
does it
well, I
bother you?
can't get to my own laundry because I need to make sure my kids have their clothes. My husband's got to go to work. I mean, he's got to have clothes for work, so I need to make sure that that gets done. And I'm just here and I have a lot of clothes.
Mhm.
So I'll be like, I'll wait until the very last, like I'm out of clothes to finally do a load of my own laundry. And then it's back to doing my husband's and my kids' laundry. So that pile never goes away. But that's what
Yeah.
I'm talking about on a micro level. But that's something you can look at and be like, that it's like an analogy. I make sure my kids are fed. I make sure my husband has had enough to eat.
Mhm.
Did I make sure that I ate? I make sure my kids are drinking water. I don't
Mhm.
make sure my husband's drinking water because he's a grown man. He can drink his own water. I mean, he can drink water. He has no problem drinking water. But like, I'll make sure that's done. I'll make sure that the animals and stuff outside are fed and watered. And I'll do
Mhm.
all of that first until 4 p.m. rolls around. And then I'll realize I have not fed or watered myself,
Mhm.
you know, because I wake up in the
Mhm.
morning and I think with having 3 kids, having like a small amount of livestock and having my dogs and stuff like that, it's like I wake up, feed the kids, feed the dogs, water the dogs, go outside. There's chickens, there's rabbits, there's things out there that need to be fed. I come inside, now it's lunchtime. You know what I mean? So by the time I'm done with one meal, it's time for another. I don't feed the
Yeah.
dogs lunch because they're dogs, but you know what I mean? Like I got to get the kids stuff going and then there's their school work and everything that needs to be done. And then it'll roll around 5 or 6 o'clock and I'll realize I have not eaten. I have not had a lick of water.
So how many
Everybody else
days?
is fed and watered, but
Yeah. No, I get that. How many days a week do you think that you prioritize self care?
never. Well, Thursdays. Thursdays are for the girls.
Okay. That's
Yeah.
good.
So I have my Thursdays. My husband is always off work on Thursday.
Hmm.
And so I can go to my knitting circle, have a knitting circle.
That's
And
good. Oh,
yeah.
yeah. I got my friend here. I don't know if you can
Oh,
see
yeah.
him. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Hi, buddy.
that's one of that's one of your knitting project right there, isn't it?
That's a crochet project, but I won't be rude about that.
Okay. Crochet
It's
and
okay.
knitting. I'm so sorry. I won't
They're
make
two
that
different
mistake.
things.
That's great. That's great. Well, why don't we slide into let's kind of close that gap between what we're talking about as far as women's mental health, physical health, emotional. Let's go
Yeah.
spiritual. How can we bridge this to Ruth? Because I know that you're really excited to talk about Ruth and the impact that
I
she's had on your life.
Ruth is such a powerful character in the story for women, or the story of God, right?
Sure.
Like the story of
Lineage.
how the lineage of Ruth is such a powerful character that I feel like almost never gets brought up. I mean, when you think of women in the Bible, a lot of people think of obviously Mary, the woman at the well, you know,
Hmm.
um, and people like that. But they a lot of times Ruth doesn't get brought up. Eve gets brought up a lot.
Hmm. Yep. Yeah.
What she did. Eve is out
What she
here
did.
making mistakes. And but Ruth is such a powerful story in the Bible because not only did she lose everything, and when I talk about she lost her husband, it's not like losing your husband now. Not that that's an easy path to walk through. I mean, I
Mhm.
have friends that have lost their husband, and I don't know if I would be cut at the knees, but I would still be financially taken care of.
Sorry.
When Ruth lost her husband at the time, it would be a completely different scenario to where if I were to lose my husband today, if I lost my husband, I'd be sad, I'd be broken, it'd be a
Mm,
lot of terrible things, but I would generally be taken care of. I mean, there's life insurance, there's support systems involved, there's government aid if it comes to that.
mhm,
I wouldn't lose my home. Why would I lose my it wouldn't go to the next male in the family like it would
mm,
at that time. You know, when
right.
Ruth lost her husband, she truly lost everything and she was a pariah. I mean, she became a pariah.
Mm. What do
Um,
you mean by that?
like shunned in society.
Mm, okay.
When people lost their husbands, they lost their value. You couldn't
Okay.
just go out and find another. There was no like, oh, let me hop on whatever apps there are and find myself a new husband. There wasn't like that. You know,
Yeah.
you are you have fallen on the social scale so far, you're almost irredeemable. Sorry,
Really.
I don't know if you can hear my dog.
No, you're
So,
fine. You're fine.
yeah, you're gonna hear him because he's an Australian Shepherd, so he does not have a quiet button. But
I love us.
he's so cool. But he does notice that I'm gone for more than 30 minutes, so he's upset. But anyways, so she had fallen almost to the point of being irredeemable, but she kept going. You know,
Hmm.
she could have ended up on the
Why?
streets. Why?
Yeah. Why? How was she able to keep going?
I think because, well, for multiple reasons, she had her faith. She had someone
Mhm.
to lean on.
Who was that?
Her stepmom, not her
Which
stepmom.
is-
Why am I being so silly? Her
No,
mother-in-law.
no, no. Yeah, mother. No, I knew
Her
what you meant,
mother-in-law.
but
Yeah.
and
So her
that's
husband's
Naomi,
mom,
right?
Naomi.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she had Naomi. She had a purpose to. She kind of took that nurturing or supportive role that she had for her husband, and she kind of centered it to Naomi. It's like where you
Hmm.
go, I'll go. That's the famous quote.
She was
Um,
loyal.
she was loyal. She was loyal. Now I would almost say to a fault, but it was no fault. Um, she shifted her intentions to being loyal to Naomi and sticking with her.
Hmm.
And I think that that's a huge part of like grief and mental health is not like shifting all of your needs onto one person, but
Hmm.
connection. Finding
Yeah.
those small ways to maintain connection. Because I don't know about you, but like for me, when I'm struggling with depression, one of the biggest things that I noticed first was isolation. Like I have this push towards isolation.
Mm,
And I just want to hole up in a dark room and I could stare at a wall for 6 hours.
hmm
Um,
Same.
and even like small steps towards making connection, and I'll get to what that could look like. Because I couldn't, what is making connection when I stay at home with my kids?
hmm
What can that possibly look like for me? I don't have a way to, or I thought I didn't have a good way to establish connection with people and
hmm
maintain it in like a meaningful way. Um, but establishing connection, finding a purpose, that's huge. And it sounds so overwhelming when you have depression. People will be like, you have to find a purpose. A purpose sounds massive and heavy.
It, yes.
Like a
Yes.
purpose sounds awful. What do you mean, a purpose? That sounds terrible.
Right.
But purpose on a micro level is actually really fun.
Well, and I think that's what it sounds like. That's what Ruth was doing, was just like maintaining those like those micro purposes in her loyalty to
Yes.
Naomi. Like and then the entire time she was grieving. It's like she refused to hole up. She refused to isolate, and she it sounded like she was really pushing forward in her grieving, navigating that while she was finding her purpose and remaining loyal to Naomi, right?
Yes. Yeah,
hmm
taking those small steps, like just continuing to take small steps forward. I know,
hmm
like, one of the ways that I describe having depression is like you live in pudding. Like you
mm
can't move, everything seems heavier,
hmm
getting out of bed seems harder, everything, but you just have to keep pushing forward, taking those small steps. It doesn't have to be big leaps. I have this big, like, I have this problem where I'll go all or nothing, and that's horrific. Like, that's the worst thing that you could do. I'll be like, oh, I have to find purpose. So, in the middle of a depressive episode, I'll like sign up for college.
Yeah.
Or, like, it's a horrible plan. Like, that is not what they're talking about when they say find a purpose. It doesn't mean like apply for nursing school or something
Right.
cute. You know what I mean? It's nothing. Read a page of a book.
hmm
Do a
Just keep moving.
dish. Just keep
Yeah.
moving. Um, do your best to get out of bed. Take that shower.
hmm
It. The way sometimes I make myself get in the shower is say I'll just wash my hair. I won't do anything. I'll just wash my hair.
hmm
But of course, when you get in the shower, you're gonna wash your hair. You're gonna do all of this stuff. But you can just say, I'll just read one page of a book. You're gonna end up reading more,
Well,
right?
and part of her story too is that like she didn't there was a lot of unknown. So I can
Mm-hmm.
imagine there's a lot of anxiety tied in with her grief and instability. While maintaining her loyalty to Naomi, like there was it was completely unknown. Is that right?
Right,
As far as her
right.
future, yeah. And then working in the fields, like I mean, she literally was just taking one day at a time, one step at a time, and
One grain of rice at a time,
yeah,
one at a time.
and survival mode,
Right,
right? So
exactly.
do you think that there could be do you think survival mode is a good thing or a bad thing, or can it be both?
I think that there's just like anything else, there's a time and a place for survival
Mhm.
mode. I mean, cortisol is a powerful tool. Adrenaline is a powerful tool.
Yes.
Living in that is a bad thing. You know what I mean? Like if like you hear those stories all the time. Not you don't hear it all the time, but every once in a while you'll hear the story of like a kid gets crushed by something heavy and the mom, this tiny little thing, is able to lift a car off of the kid because of adrenaline
Uh-huh.
is a powerful, powerful tool.
Yeah.
Right. But you can't live with that amount of adrenaline. Anybody who's had a baby knows adrenaline is a powerful tool. You have like this huge adrenaline dump when you're pushing,
hmm
and then afterwards you're just shaking. Like I don't know if you've seen your wife do that, the shakes that come after having a baby. You cannot
Mm,
live like that.
yeah.
You can't live in that level of adrenaline and cortisol,
Yeah.
you
That's
know?
super dangerous. Super
Yeah.
dangerous.
So
Yeah.
is it a powerful tool to keep you moving? As long as you continue to move forward and you don't get stuck in it, yeah, I think absolutely it's
Yeah.
a powerful tool.
What emotional weight do you think that Ruth was carrying that we may not talk about?
And she never really talks about it, but like to lose the love of your life, like this person that you've bonded to in such I don't know what her relationship was like with her husband, you know what I mean?
Right. Doesn't
It
tell
could
us.
have just
Yeah.
been average, you know, it doesn't really say anything, but I know for my purposes, the concept of losing my husband,
Mm,
that would be unbearable.
mhm,
I really don't know how I would get through that if not for surrounding myself with people, making those small steps forward,
mhm,
committing to my faith, committing to a purpose. And like I know one of my good friends lost her husband, and that's what she's doing in the third chapter of her life, you know, is just making small steps forward, surrounding herself with community, living for a purpose, you know, doing these things that she never thought she would be able to. She lost her husband suddenly. I mean,
mhm.
it wasn't like a long drawn out process. So I
And
can only imagine. And they had a great relationship, but she's coping with it in such a beautiful way that I think that like it shows that there is another side
mhm.
to those things, to those
So
pancreas.
would you consider Ruth strong, or like did she have another option? Like
I
she just
think
had to
that's
be strong?
like you mean is she like stronger than your average woman?
I guess just given the circumstances. Like when we
That's
look
the
at her
thing.
story,
You don't
like
have
was
to
she
be.
strong on her own, or did she just didn't have another option? Part of that survival mode and was what made her strong.
People will look at a woman or a man who has gone through something awful and come out on the other side and say, "Oh, well, they're strong.
Hmm.
Like they're different from me. They're strong. They're
Yeah.
different." And that does not have to be the case. People will
Why
look
not?
at my situation and they'll say all the time, you know, "Oh, she's so strong," or uh, "Me, I'm so confident," or something like that. Not the
Hmm.
case. I don't feel like
Hmm.
I'm any stronger or more confident than other women. Um, I think I'm just willing to show up, just continue to show up. And
Which is Ruth.
yeah, she was just continuing to show up. Was she strong? I'm maybe. Um,
Oh, maybe afterwards. Maybe that's when her. Maybe she didn't feel strong. Maybe it was after the fact that.
yeah, I mean, I don't feel strong a lot of the time. I think anybody who is facing something, um, what do they say about courage? Is it's not like the lack of fear. Courage isn't a lack of fear. It's
Hmm.
just continuing to do it anyways.
Okay, I like that.
You know, so
Yeah.
strength isn't a lack of or being different from anyone else. I think it's just continuing to show up and continuing. Um,
So and that sounds like resilience to me. So
yeah,
like so the next question I have is where do we see mental resilience in her story? And I think that's exactly what you're describing. She's just continuing to show up.
yeah. She continued to show up. She continued to make those micro steps that led to macro changes in her life. And I think all of us can learn from that.
Hmm.
If it wasn't for her continuing to push forward, continuing to make those little steps, um, she would have never met Boaz. She would have never
That's true.
been able to be redeemed in
Hmm.
their culture, you know. Um, and I think it's about showing big love and continuing to show up, and inherently it will cause you to be surrounded by people who show you big love and continue to show up for you.
Hmm. Yeah,
You
very
know,
well put.
that's not obvious, but that's just the outcome
Hmm.
of continuing to show up, continuing to push forward and continuing to not just push forward for yourself, but continuing to show love even when you're desperate for it yourself.
Yeah. That's
And
a good point.
yeah, sometimes when
Really
I
good.
feel really down, I'll like text people like, "How can I pray for you?" Or, "Hey, I'm just thinking about you." Making other people feel good. One of my biggest like, ugh,
Wait, but
I love
you're saying, hold on. I'm sorry. You're saying when sometimes when you feel down,
when I
you
feel
will,
down.
okay.
Yeah, when I feel down, that's when I try to lift other people up. It's a
That's
powerful
interesting.
tool. Yeah, it's a powerful because it also lets people know like that's the way that they can support you or that's like a door that's open. So I'll say, "Hey, how can I pray for you?" To just go through my phone contacts,
Mhm.
knowing people that are safe, that are kind, that, all that stuff. "Hey, I'm just thinking about you. Hey, I miss you. How are you doing?" Making those small steps towards connection.
Mhm.
Um, or even like giving compliments. I love it. I love giving compliments. Oh my gosh. I love giving compliments. And it's a small connection to just a stranger,
That's true.
you know, but you might
And
not
sometimes that's
feel,
what can get you through the day too. Those small connections with a stranger.
yeah, small connections. And you might not feel like you have a lot of love left in your bank account, you know, but it's
Hmm.
just about making those like small investments in
Yeah.
connection.
All little invest,
And
all little deposit.
eventually you will surround yourself by people who are awesome.
You're exactly right. So how are women today living like Ruth without realizing that they are?
I think in some small sense of the word, we're all living with some type of, I don't want to say loss, but like uncertainty about the future,
Yeah.
and she's a great example of living with an uncertainty about the future because she really had no, if you looked at it from back then from that point of view, she had nothing. She
Right.
had there was no point. She could have just sat down and starved to death.
Hmm. Yeah.
You
She could
know,
have completely given up.
she could have completely given up, but she didn't. She kept continuing to push forward. And that's the same for all of us. Like, we all have uncertainty about the future: men, women, children, animals, minerals, vegetables. None of us know what's coming,
Right. That's true.
And
Yeah.
so I think that it's a powerful story of like what you can do with uncertainty. And it's kind of a little game plan.
Okay. So in that, like, what does healthy strength look like versus silent suffering?
I think healthy's right. The big difference is
Hmm.
talking to someone about it, being willing to be honest and open about what you're going through. I know that's harder for men.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
I know that men have that stigma that, like, if I walk up to one of my guy friends, well, maybe they know me, so they know that they can talk about it.
Hmm.
But you can really see that someone's suffering and they won't say why, they won't say what, they won't say what's going on. A lot of times with men, they just won't talk about it.
Yeah. Well, we're
Um,
just taught so early on just to kind of just keep going, just put a band-aid over it and just you know.
yeah. So I know that's easier said than done when I say just like, oh, reach out and talk to someone about it. But if you're a guy, some girl somewhere. You know what I mean? Some
Yeah.
woman somewhere, whether it doesn't have to be your wife if you feel like there's some, because I know that there are relationships where if a man talks about his problems with his wife, it's
Hmm.
not like your or my relationship, where she might use that in a way, it might cause strife in the relationship to
Yeah.
unload his problems. But you got a mom, you got a sister, you got an aunt, you got some woman that will listen.
Yeah. That's true.
I'm not saying go outside of your marriage because that's never a good idea.
No, no, no.
Um,
I get what you're saying.
some type of platonic, uh, women will listen to you. You could probably go find a woman at the park that will
Just
listen to your problem. We love to listen to problems,
that's funny.
but I know it's probably a lot, more difficult for men to make those little like connections over text message, like I was saying, or make like a
Mhm.
compliment in public. A compliment might be taken the wrong way coming from a man.
Well, and what you're getting at is just like men and women having we have
That's
support.
so different.
It's still very different, but there is support out there. So what would it look like if Ruth had support? Can you imagine what it would have been for her had she had the same amount or the same type, same options of support that we have today?
Um, I think that it was almost a blessing that she didn't, because she ended up with her kinsman redeemer. She ended up with Boaz. But
Mm,
she had to continue to push forward. She could not just sit on her butt and receive support.
yeah.
Not to say that there are superficial ways to get support,
Mhm.
right? So
What do you mean?
if I want to, I can hop on ChatGPT and get support.
Mhm.
Is that real connection? No. Somebody supported me though,
Yeah.
or I could use social media to gain likes and follows. And that's like a small hit of some type of something, but that's not real support.
Right. Those are like little dopamine hit,
Right.
Yeah.
So
But think about the support level that you have. Like I'm sure you've got a support system. Like think about that and like if
ridiculous.
if Ruth had that, what would have been different? Or do
I
you
mean, she
think
had
anything
Naomi. Without Naomi, I don't know what that story would look like. Without
that's true.
Naomi giving her purpose and
Mhm.
a direction, or helping her find purpose and a direction,
Mhm.
where you go, I'll go, your people will be my people, your God will be my God. I'm kind of relinquishing it to you.
Yeah.
She had a
Yeah.
support. I mean, she had that support. She found somebody
That's true.
to be her support system. So, I mean, it was the closest thing at the time to her husband that she could
Yeah.
find, her husband's mom. I mean, what's the closest thing than the person who raised him,
Mhm.
you know? But you also have to
But
consider that Naomi had lost everything.
that's true.
Naomi had
Do you,
nothing.
do you think that anybody in that story, Ruth, Naomi, or whomever, do you think that they knew what it was to listen to their bodies back then?
No, I'm sure that there are so many people who aren't listening to their body. But also, when you consider there wasn't the environmental stressors that there are
Mhm.
today. They weren't stopping at McDonald's and getting a bunch of processed food, because that's not going to help.
Mhm.
It's not going to help your problems. They weren't. Well, they may have been getting a little tipsy, but there was just wine. It's not
Yeah.
like they were out there drinking margaritas and just getting
No, and
trashed.
it was such diluted wine too.
Yeah.
I forget I forget what parts per I don't know, it was something crazy like 2 parts wine, 100 parts water or something like that. It was just so diluted.
Oh,
And
really?
wasn't it meant yeah, and I can't place like how I even know that, but wasn't it meant for like I know we kind of just taking a rabbit trail
That's fine.
and discussing wine, but
Let's talk
back
about it.
then what wasn't it more to kind of like ferment the water to make the water more not palatable, but just I guess
Probably not
potable.
going to kill you. Potable. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm
Because
sure
I
they
mean, it
also
would be
had
like
like
adding like
rich
apple
wine.
cider vinegar or something to it. Just something
Yes. Yeah.
to kind of keep it from literally killing you.
You're
Just
exactly right. But at the same time, I'm sure they had their, real rich wine too, where it was some ungodly amount, like 140 proof wine.
well, they even talk about in the Bible the difference between like dinner wine and wedding wine.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I'm sure wedding wine was a little heavier.
So what about creating space for mental health care? I know that it's hard to imagine back then, but what can women do today to create space for their own mental health care?
If you can carve out 15 or 20 minutes in the day, I know that sounds hard, or like it wouldn't make a huge difference. But if you can carve out 15 or 20 minutes in your day, for women especially, Lord, that's the only way that I don't know what men can do with their 15 or 20 minutes. Maybe they can go for a run, maybe they can play a video, anything that kind of gets you
Out of your head.
out of your head, your own time. So
Hmm.
like for me, it would be like knitting, crocheting, uh, paint your nails, do something to take care of yourself.
Yeah.
Just 15 or 20 minutes of reading, and you can find that time throughout the day. You might be able to find 5 minutes here, 15 minutes there. You might find an hour somewhere in the day, but take that time. I know the pressure is to take every single moment of every single day and use that to clean, cook, do whatever it is to maintain for other people.
Hmm.
But if you can just take small bits of your day and do things that give you that little sense of connection, sense of purpose, your little dopamine hit,
Hmm.
you know, these small steps forward. I
So,
think that
which
that,
those small steps forward would eventually lead to letting go of the whole quote unquote, I have to be strong identity, right?
yeah, it took me a long time to unpack that. I look back and I cringe at this idea that like I had to be so strong because we've talked about this in the past. Like I was raised by a feminist, like in the true sense of the word, not like a radical feminist, not like out there doing protests in the street, not like that's what I mean, but just somebody who had shouldered the responsibilities of not just being a woman but being a man.
Hmm.
And it's very difficult to do both in a real way. You know what I mean? So as a woman, I mean, if we're going to be honest with ourselves, like what does that look like? What does that boil itself down to? It's being a creator, a supporter, a nurturer. These are the things that we don't have to swim upstream to be.
Hmm.
That's just what flows through you,
That's true.
you know? And for a man, it's more being a protector, a provider. Those are the things that just flow through you easily.
Hmm. That's true.
And when we swim upstream and say, like, not only am I going to be a nurturer and this and that and everything else, but also I'm going to be a protector to provider. I don't need men at all. And so that's why I was so like I had to be so strong. I had to be so tough. And like
Mm-hmm.
everything I had, like every sport I did, it had to be a man's sport. Like I couldn't just participate in being a woman. You know
Mm.
what I mean? It had to
Yeah.
do jujitsu and I had to power lift and I had to be the strongest. Even I'm 5 feet tall. Like that's ridiculous. And I had to pull weight like men were pulling weight. Like that
Oh,
is nutso. Like, why am I doing this to myself? Why am I comparing myself to men as if that's the gold standard?
right.
I mean, no offense, we're both the gold standard. And why am I pushing myself to swim upstream so hard and be so strong and be so tough and be so resilient and be all of those things when you just don't have to be?
Yeah.
I think that there's lots of podcasts on becoming strong, the strongest version of yourself.
That's yeah. There's plenty.
There's plenty of that, and if that's what you're into, go listen to those. I mean, there's plenty of men in front of a microphone that will
Mhm.
tell you nobody's coming to save you
Yeah. The
and
whole
all that
David
stuff.
Goggins push.
Is that who
Yeah.
said that? That nobody's coming to save you? I hear it all the time. Nobody's coming to save you. I'm like, you don't know
He
my
there.
husband because
There's a
he's
lot.
absolutely coming to save me.
Right. There's a lot of men who will speak that into self help type podcasts or books for sure. But
No, dang, dang.
what you're talking about though, like even though you were put in those positions to lift weights or do the guy type things, though there had to be some type of community and support in that. So how important do you think finding community and support are to a woman's mental health?
Oh, a complete game changer.
Yeah.
The women that I have surrounded myself with now are such incredible humans. I can tell them anything.
Mm.
I can ask them anything. I I mean, the other day I was like feeling dehydrated and a friend of mine brought me like not protein, like hydration powder.
Oh, nice.
I mean, little things that we're willing to do for each other
Hmm.
that, and I'm willing to do it for them. My
That's cool.
friend, like, she was struggling with her house being messy. That's cool. I'll come clean it. I'll come clean it, babe, and I won't say anything.
Yeah.
We'll sit there, we'll listen to music. I'll clean your house while you do whatever you want to do.
That's really cool.
That's the type of support that is out there, first of all,
Mhm.
and that you will not just survive, but thrive with.
And I think it's important to ask for that too. Like it and be, feel free to ask your community or your support group that like, hey, can you come do this with me or for me? There's a sense of freedom in being able to have community and be able to ask them those specific task oriented type things. And,
It's
yeah,
not,
and it's really cool to hear that.
that is true. You should be able to ask for those things. You should be able to offer those things.
Mhm.
But my thing is don't ask, don't offer, just show up.
To show up. Yes.
Just
Yes.
show up. If I say, "What can I do for you?" A person who's struggling is not going to tell me the truth. But
Hmm.
you remember, and I remember this about you. This is like one of my baseline foundational things about you is that when I was pregnant, you would just bring me Olive Garden. I didn't
Yeah.
ask you to bring me Olive Garden. You didn't say, "How can I help you?" And I said you could bring me Olive Garden. You just
Right.
brought it. So many breadsticks. You
Yeah.
know, it's just showing up for people. My friend didn't say, "Can you help me clean my house?"
Hmm.
And I didn't say, "What can I do to help you?" I said, "I'll be there in 15 minutes with some Febreze."
That's cool.
You
Yeah.
know,
There's a lot
just
to
show up
showing
for
up.
people. I didn't,
So is
yeah.
that
I just said, "I'm dehydrated." She just showed up,
I love it. I love it. So would
you
that
know?
be one thing that a woman listening today is that something that she could start prioritizing in regards to her health is just showing up for others, or what could she do for herself?
I'm not saying burn yourself out showing up for every single person.
Okay.
You know who
Yeah.
you can safely show up for. Um, Showing up in big ways, small ways. I like to just surprise my friends with little stuff. I'll bake you some bread. Just show up, you know?
I love
Just
it.
being there for people and knowing that um just them knowing that you're thinking about them and that you care about them deeply.
Hmm. And that
And
they're oh,
I think it was Steve Stroop who defined love as seeing a need and meeting the need. And that's it.
yeah, that's it. It's real simple.
It's really, really simple. Um, my way of showing up love is studying somebody, seeing their needs, and then just meeting it.
Hmm.
Don't make
Yeah.
them ask. Don't ask them if you would like, hey, would you like me to love you today? How can I love you
Exactly.
today? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? That's nice. Sometimes I'll say that to my husband, hey, how can I love you? But what's more powerful is seeing just watching someone and seeing how they can be loved and just do it. If it's within your power, do it.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
So what's a lie that women believe that needs to be broken? It's kind of a
Oh, I think the devil has lies all up in all the different women, all different types of lies.
yeah.
I think the most powerful, or not the most powerful, but the most prevalent, I should say, is that you're not enough. You're not doing enough. You're not being enough. You're not keeping it together enough. You're not enough.
Hmm.
You're not enough. You're not enough. You're not enough.
Hmm.
You are intrinsically enough.
Yes, you're created to be enough.
You are created enough. You are enough. You don't have to change to be enough.
Hmm.
You don't have to, in order for you to have value to other people, nothing about you needs to change.
Oh,
I
I
don't
love it.
care if you're an addict, you have value. I don't care if you haven't touched a broom in a month or a year.
Hmm.
If your dishes are to the ceiling, you have value.
Hmm. It's
If
very
you're, no matter what you're struggling with, no matter what your secret sin is, no matter what your not so secret sin is, you have intrinsic value. do not let the world or Satan tell you that you have lost value because of it.
I love
And
that.
it could be that you feel like your body is failing you. Doesn't
Hmm.
matter, you have value.
Hmm.
As a woman, I know that it's incredibly difficult for a lot of women who are going through um, like hormonal issues that cause them infertility. Just because you
Yeah,
can't, or at this time in your life, you can't produce a baby, doesn't mean you don't have value. Doesn't mean you're not a woman. Doesn't mean you're
that's
any
true.
less.
And it doesn't mean that you're not redeemable,
Well, exactly.
because
And
you are.
so,
Everybody.
absolutely everybody is redeemable. I'm not saying stay stuck in your addiction. I'm not saying stay stuck in your problems. I'm saying you have value right where you are, no matter what.
Hmm.
And always see people that way. I think that we have a tendency to see people based on their production, what they give to society.
Yeah, that's how they're measured. Yeah, you're exactly
That
right.
measuring people based on that. But if you walk around and you just see everybody as like, that's God's son, that's God's
Hmm.
daughter,
Yeah.
they're not only do they have intrinsic value, but I'm called to love them
Hmm. Yeah,
no matter
no
what
matter
that
what.
looks like. Yeah. So
And I
I'm
think
not
that,
saying, let them in your
I,
house and
right.
don't go crazy.
I know what you mean.
Don't just be inviting strangers over to take
Right,
everything that you own, but
right.
there
But
are
see
ways
them
that you
as,
can see them as a human because everybody's a human with great potential and value.
mhm. And that's actually, that's perfect to bring this to a close. And Ruth's story didn't start with redemption. It started with loss, like you talked about early on
Mhm.
in this episode. You talked about the loss of your dad, and a lot of women are still in that part of the story. So what
Right.
would you say to that woman who's still in that part of the story, and navigating grief?
Navigating grief. Um, grief grief isn't linear. It's not
Mhm.
going to be I'm better and then I continue to be better and it only gets better from here and it's only
Right.
on the way to the top. No, it's going to look like this. Grief is it's ugly, it's nasty, and it's not linear.
Mhm.
And like I said, when my dad first passed, I went into like a manic episode. Sorry, I got a cough. Try to do that away from the mic as much as possible.
Oh, you're
But
fine.
I went into a manic episode. Listen, my house was perfect. I was cooking like these meals you wouldn't believe. I was Everything was perfect.
Mm.
A person can only keep up with that for so long.
Yeah, not sustainable for sure.
Not sustainable, absolutely not. But I would wake up every day at 6 a.m. Everything was perfect until I closed my little eyes. You know, everything had to be. I would wake up, make the bed, which is a pointless activity. First of all, let me just say that. You know what I mean? But everything was perfect, and I think that I needed that, and I needed that structure
Yeah, at the time, yeah, I
at
get
the
that.
time. I absolutely needed that structure. I needed that um, to be surrounded, like to not be surrounded by chaos.
Mhm.
Right?
Yeah.
I needed that at the time, but I grew out of it, out of needing that perfection because it was costing me so much, and it became a stressor for
Hmm.
me in ways that I can't quantify. But I realized that I was outwardly everything looked really good,
Hmm.
but my relationships were suffering. My relationship with my husband was suffering. My relationship with my children were suffering because I would be like, I just clean that. You can't touch that.
Yeah.
Or, you know, whatever it is, it was struggling, and like I said, I needed that at the time, but you can get past it. You can get out of that, you
Hmm.
know?
Yeah.
And so
Kind of
grief is going to
keep
look
moving.
like these different phases.
Hmm.
And I would just say rock with it. As long as your grief isn't leading you into a place that like it's causing you to struggle more with addiction, obviously seek help.
Hmm.
Or grief is causing you to do self harm or to do harm to other people, obviously seek help. Don't do that. But there are phases and stages in this my like journey through depression that I've had to just kind of like roll with it.
Yeah, I get
Also
that.
get a grief counselor. That's not hard to do. You can get them if you have insurance at all. You can get them on your phone now.
Yeah, I mean,
So
there's ways that you don't even have to have insurance that you can, get grief counseling. It's really it's
yeah,
offered everywhere. A
go
lot of
through a
people's jobs,
church. Yeah,
yeah, their
yeah,
church. Yeah, you're exactly right. Well, that's really good stuff. And Jamie, I can't thank you enough for being able to kind of bridge the gap between women's physical health and mental health,
yeah,
excuse me, as well as their emotional and spiritual health. And that's exactly why we wanted to talk about Ruth today, to be able to recall or call back on some ways that the women that we look up to in the Bible. There's men and women that, I mean, that's why we read the Bible. We look for those characters in the Bible that we most relate with, and we try to um, live our life by the example that they set, and that's what I think the Word of God is for. So it's wonderful that we were able to take Ruth to be able to bridge that gap between women today and women back in the biblical times, and we have Ruth to thank for that. So thank God for
yeah.
Ruth in that regard. So I really do appreciate you tying all that together for us. A couple of calls to action is just really what is it that we're holding all together, right? Like we want to be able to kind of take a self inventory of what is that we're deeming so important that we have to hold it all together, and what does that look like if we let it all go, right?
Mm,
And then another big question is, why am I ignoring my own health? I think that's something that, as we leave the episode today, we want people to ask themselves that question: where am I ignoring my own health? And whatever answers that you come up with, just address those quickly, because if you're in that mindset of neglecting your own health, you're
1 second, buddy. Sorry.
yeah, you're fine. And neglecting your own health, it's downhill from there. So we just want to really encourage everybody to pay attention to their own health, be it physical,
Yeah.
mental, spiritual, and emotional. So, well, I can't thank you enough for being on the show today. I really appreciate it. What is one thing that you would say to the women listening today, if as though this was your only time to ever speak to any women ever? What is the one thing that you would leave them with today?
Oh man. I think jumping on the jumping off of the cortisol train.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Find ways, and you can look this up. You can Google it. It's really easy to do. I think that our hormones get out of whack so easily. Women are dealing with hormonal imbalance pretty much no matter what. Your
Hmm.
hormones are going. Even if you're in a healthy hormone, it's going like this all month long.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
right, jump off the cortisol train. Look at what that looks like for you. Whether it's getting more sleep, drink some water.
Hmm.
There's all sorts of different things you can do. Um, to prioritize. And for me, prioritizing health looks like prioritizing what my hormones look like.
Okay.
I know for men, there's like your testosterone is kind of like this, ours is like this, you
Yeah.
know. So,
Yeah.
yeah, prioritize taking care of your body, taking care of your sleep, drinking water has been such a game changer for me.
And that usually
I
is a
get,
game changer for everybody. Yeah.
dude, drink some water, drink some water, drink some water. I was so tired of hearing people telling me to drink some water, and then I did it.
It's magic.
It's magical. I feel like my
Uh-huh.
brain is floating on a cloud. Like, what? I can remember stuff now. Didn't know I could do that.
Yeah.
Drink some water, get some sleep. Um, yeah, I mean, take a walk. Oh my gosh. Take a walk. It is the
Yeah,
craziest game changer. Take a walk is a game changer.
it is. It is.
Uh,
I walk a lot. I probably walk a good 50 miles a week. I kid you not. I'll just
yeah,
go and go and go and go. And the next thing I know, 2 hours has passed and I've got to start walking back home. But
that's
yeah,
four.
there's a
Goodness gracious, good golly, Miss Molly. That's 4 hours.
not, well, that's four. I can't say that I do that often. I may do a 4 hour walk once a week, once every couple weeks, to be honest. But yeah, so I'm exaggerating a little bit there. But yes, there's
Okay.
definitely power in walking, and there's power in power walking too.
Yeah, it lowers your cortisol. It's really, really, really powerful for lowering
It,
cortisol,
it
which
is.
is
It
like
is.
the biggest thing. Don't try to be skinny, try to be healthy.
I
You know
like
what I
that.
mean?
That's a great little one-liner. I like that.
Uh,
All these things are
listen.
good. And what's interesting is that I can't really ask you to just say one or two things. Everything that you've said in
Everything is
this episode, yeah,
so,
it's
yeah,
been perfect. It's been spot on. I couldn't have written this episode any better for
I'm
you. So
so
I just
perfect. I'm so good at everything. That's a fact
you
about
really
me.
are. You're great at everything. And you know what? You're a really good sister. So I want to thank you
Yeah.
personally for that. And you
Tell
can
my
be
sister
everybody.
that. Make sure you write that in a card
I will.
and send it to
I
her.
will. And just so everybody who's listening, just know that you do have a sister in Jamie. Those of you who are listening, you've got a sister in Jamie, and you've got a brother in me. So take that with you, and just remember to love yourself. Take time out for yourself, and remember that you're not alone. If you do feel alone, there is the lifeline.org that you could reach out to. Give them a shout. We'll put that information in the show notes as we always do. We just never, ever, ever, ever want anybody to feel so alone that they have nowhere to go. So
Right.
please use the resources that we have listed. Anything else that you'd like to add?
Yeah, I mean, put it in the show notes, whatever. If anybody wants to reach out, call me, email me, text me, whatever. If
Okay,
you're having a crisis, I'm here for you. I mean, like I
that's
said, I'm a sister to everybody.
that's
So
true. That's
whatever it
true.
is, I got you.
Listen, Jamie, I really, really appreciate you. I got a lot of love for you, and thanks for being on the show today.
No, I love you too.
All right, thanks. Bye bye.